We're gonna get started now. If everyone could find a seat either in a chair or it's a rather full evening, so you can feel encouraged to sort of spill forth onto the floor. Make yourselves comfortable in any manner that you're able to do so. Hi, my name is Will. I'm the communications director here at the Poetry Project. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. For Mohammed Zenia and Nora Treatbaby, this is a really astonishing crowd for a Friday evening. Sorry, I don't usually do this. My coworker Laura is sick to evening. She sends love, and so I'm hosting for her. There's definitely housekeeping that I'm supposed to do. The bathrooms that's what it is. The bathrooms are upstairs. If you need the bathrooms, they're upstairs. And then to the right, if you need an accessible bathroom, you can grab either me, my colleague Anna, who is yonder, or my colleague Nicole, who is also yonder, and we can help you find an accessible bathroom through the sanctuary. We have a friend with us this evening at the book table. We have Ali Reza, who is selling some really lovely Rizzo prints. They're 25 bucks each. All of the proceeds are being donated to Palestine Legal. You should definitely check them out. And then we have books, of course, for Mo and for Nora. And I think that is all of my housekeeping. Thank you. And then in addition to my housekeeping, I will also introduce Mo, who will be reading first, and then Kaur Alia Ahmed will introduce Nora. Morgan Vo, our peerless managing editor, was supposed to introduce Mo, and he is additionally sick, so I'm both Laura and Morgan tonight. For me, or for Morgan, Mo's poetry is one of proximities, a continual discovery of how things radiate, have radiated, how they poison each other, transform each other, compel each other, how events from long ago can return from a lost horizon at the mere mention of a name. Mo makes me feel like I am flying through the night with my bedsheet pulled around me, like I'm flying but still alive, like story and experience are magical, yet I am not, like I am of the earth, of food and water, of plaster walls and rubber-soled shoes, even if time and space themselves are bound to become infinity, as light, as heavy, as mutable as the earth's atmosphere. Mo does a powerful thing with their voice, which I read and hear as being pretty quiet, even when the words can be loud and aggressive, even when the scale of everything they render is completely vast. In Tel Aviv, they write, "Sometimes I roam the castle like a desert father counting the sacrament in marigold, under the eyelids of subways and hurricanes. Manhattan, luxury, concrete, and flawless night, coupled in the polyrhythm of a bird song. And in James Baldwin's Lungs in the 80s, we gaze to a sunflower sea or a body on fire shown through state-run TV, #Justice for Osman. I finally failed across all borders and genders. We're less reflections and shadows than slightly embarrassed cousins." Mo contributes to the sense that we can respond to the present with vulnerability, anger, sharpness, and an integrity that is not an authority. Their work is literally something that helps me stay what I think of as healthy, which I may be able to most cryptically elaborate as a state in which the core of me is making good connection with the surface of me. Mohammed Zenia Siddiq Yusef Ibrahim is a builder of such a bridge. Please welcome Mohammed Zenia Siddiq Yusef Ibrahim.
Hi, thank you for that really beautiful intro. Sorry, I'm super nervous, so I'm just gonna read. This is from a work that I finished writing like 2 years ago, but is being published in August, September by a press called Tiger Bark. It's called Black Wittgenstein. If you don't know who Joe Budden is, that might some stuff might be lost, but He's kind of like Joe Biden. He like is old. He yells. He has bad opinions. He's kind of comically dumb. I don't know. He's a bad person. Problematic relationships with women. He's like Joe Biden. He's like Joe Biden. Anyways, Black Wittgenstein, an investigation. Abstract. Black Wittgenstein wrote like an angel, a numerical language of love. The Mississippi as an algorithm of mud, soilless blood, the vanity of stones holding Georgia pines, cold rust and dying, among the banks, and all of this as if she sang the Psalms in algebra, inside of a Gold Coast hidden in an understanding of time known only to her. As it was said, she never closed her eyes or rolled her palms inward, not as in never making a fist, but as in never turning away. We are among many investigations, and for this we must hold our eyes and say, time is a shadow, and a shadow carries time like the undertow of a bay. We could interrogate an oyster, still finding that there was always the idea of war, of taste and cattle-likes like chariots simmer the atmosphere of savannah here, and then there was Black Wittgenstein running through the backwoods of Florida in the year of our Lord, 1915, under a night made of lumber and fire. Time equals cornfields and sunflowers, vivacious stories of rabbits who are also men, who are also guitars, moaning an aria from a desert nobody's seen, but somehow everybody, black, broke, and rich, knows that the Tenere and the black belt of Alabama, like Romulus and Remus, born inside of abyss. Black Cervantes is staring into the Atlantic, which is built on bread and bones. Everybody is starving. Angola is Andalusia in the shadow of the horizon, and both simultaneously is the Nubian Mahdi on the camel in the foothills of the Caucasian mountains, half blind with scurvy and wrapped inside of a moon while we dream. Black Wittgenstein is belly down in the mud from an engorged Mississippi among tall weeds of grass in the picturesque Alabama of October 1914. Vaguely aware of collapse of one time into another, of a place in line of nothing and yet always the other. All of this like the passing of one screen over a hazel sky to a new, less sturdy one. The irony of incongruent yearning. Black Cervantes is in the uncomfortable position of beating off in a jail cell. Black Wittgenstein wrote on a plate of steel hanging from a cabin, I believe in the sun as an object and guide. I believe I have a body because I am yearning. Crying as the sun soaked into what felt like her blood, and a deep and settled communion came upon her, as if the word and desire had dried into a body outside of her own. In a way she felt happy. In another way she was terrified of not being. Black Cervantes drew a line in the cell because he is polite. On one side of the line is the one word, on the other the singular word of non-being. In her own way, Black Wittgenstein wondered the same. As a line of thought, she asked herself how existence, which was hers alone, all of this word could be non-being. The inverse, being deaf as a form of being in a world where you're only captive. We can never die without a timeline. Non-being aligned with its own time, as this is not a new concept. I'm thinking of a wedge poured into the human conception of time, a singular break. Akin could be the Abiku, those born to die prematurely, spirits born into the wrong body on the wrong side who only long to return. Ghetto soap operas and other questions. November 2018. Case study 1. There are rudiments to the movements of stars, distressed animals in the awkward corners of the earth, yearning one way or the other, our necks glide past our thighs, the whole world unified bliss, softness, leather, the ocean of the second moon whistling to the waves as corners fold into the singular direction of you, a heightened example, or a silhouette punctured through reality, as in, this is where you are. White walls, chlorine, the rhythm of gurneys, sinister industrial lights, the urge to vomit, a stench found in factories and gas stations, shadows and reflections of a light, less than shadows, but more than a slow glide through blindness, a rare overhead light, loneliness. Case study 2. My nigger, you're in a hospital because of Ludwig Wittgenstein. Case study 3. How do you lose everything when you don't have shit to lose? I'm talking about a loss inside of a wound, the larva crawling out of the abyss. I mean, yeah, maybe Wittgenstein was crazy, or just fucking over it all, and he had the means to do something wild, like going to the Alps and teaching the future henchmen of the SS basic algebra. But maybe it was through the sublimation of spirit that he understood something new could emerge, and that what was named is impossible, that this world is meaningless, and by extension the named motion of our bodies incongruent with time because we are denied the present and there aren't any options left. The association of words to make a puzzle, going back to wagging our thumbs. I am digging. Case study 4. But all of this is because of a rich nigger in Austria who wrote silly questions. Case study 5. Before this. Flashes of anonymous guys, low-heaving fruit in storage containers, lost bison once more, present as meat, pour over sheep like a vision. Our waterfall breaks into infinite tributaries. The ambulance glides through rural streets like a tombstone. Everybody is smiling. Case study 6. This is really about Wittgenstein, my guy. Case study 7. More or less. Do you ever wonder what niggers talked about during the middle passage? Case study 8, confused silence. Case study 9. I mean, no one could speak to each other in any truly intelligible way, or more so, like a handful of people could piece together a sentence, but diversity of dialects and the particles of speech spread backwards like the stars born rare birds. I imagine a constellation, a blooming in space, and then, like a dead moon, time closes the wormhole. I mean, no one could really say anything any deep things to each other by design. Case study 10. I don't really get it. I wonder where boredom and slow movements of speech in lieu of horror, place in lieu of horror, past the salt, burned villages and flash mobs and stale gardens. Translation mine. Case study 12. Because no one could speak the same language except for like pleasantries or in a more regional language, we express pain through movements and saying, through rituals, because this language is a cloth and a crown and a cape. Case study 13. I had a Jewish friend from the Bronx in high school. Basically, this nigga was like Rosenberg, you know, on the radio. Like the kind of white dude who lives for black culture, and at the end of it is probably just lonely. The heavy kind of lonely. You only see in the ridges of eyes. Anyways, we was in high school and Jay and Nos were going at it, and we were at his house, or something, talking about how fucking petty it was for Jay to fuck Nos's baby mama. Like out of everyone. And for fucking rap on top of it? Like Nos didn't kill his homie. He didn't really take bread out of his mouth. None of that. Like, yeah, rap is competition, and you say mean things and all, but when you do something that malicious, what is it really? Anyways, out of nowhere, my friend just looks into the wall like a wormhole or starship, like it's eating him, or both of us are being eaten, and says like a zombie, pettiness will keep a man alive. He goes on after like 5 minutes, still just staring into the wall, about how during World War II, his grandfather was in a concentration camp with a neighbor of his, and somehow they're both surviving, but these niggas hate each other's guts, like want to kill each other, and it's just always been this way, since they were young, and even in the camp they hate each other, like somehow more than the Germans. At this point I asked my friend the only question I could muster: how? How did they survive? And he looks at me as if a color is on fire in my eyes, as if his color is on fire in my eyes, which must have appeared like a junkie's or a burn victim's, and says slowly, like a forward march, "The Germans like to watch them fight." I thought he was going to collapse. A few years pass and the men camp continue their hatred, but are back in Lithuania. Sometimes they fight breathlessly under a moon at midnight, and nothing comes of the blows. No resolution, no truth. They just act out their hatred like a ritual. Anyways, a year or so later, there's complete silence. They avoid each other at all costs. Like if one guy's out during the day, the other guy will wait till night to go about his business. Then out of nowhere, the silence ends. My homie's grandpa walks over to the guy's house, stabs him several times, and from the murder scene flees for New York. 2. Othello and Othello in Othello, a dialogue. July 2017. Case study 14. A. Holly House's Othello. The lowlands are hung like a lamp tonight, a pale sky wreathed in the blue frost-bitten teeth of a winter in July. Buses and Cadillacs from the 90s crawl through the valley, streetlights, manic buzz that pops like a subliminal, a strange screech mixed with the whimper from distant birds, the general disposition of a cursed land, an illegal garbage dump, a city after a false air raid in wartime. The hill is a perfect place for a cross or a housing project, cement paths for pilgrim children, drunk angels set before a pale moon like an altar. Sometimes a couple of dogs wander from the brambles behind Rashid's house on the corner of the playground and pee or dig for trash. Case study 14B, the dialogue. Rashid: I found this YouTube documentary series from a guy named Kenyatta, professor of advanced meta-history at the University of Lagos Dakar Satellite School. Shit's fascinating. So Kenyatta starts a lecture with a paintbrush and scars a line on a tablet that's, I don't know, in every classroom in Dakar, I guess. Anyways, he says this line is the first split in a Tower of Babel, which isn't about language but about race, and not on some metaphorical shit, like not in a rhetorical approach, but instead a God-given fact. The Tower of Babel upset God because it put the sons of Ham in power through the university of language. It gets back into some Black Hebrew type shit and something about the unity and evil of rivers that I'm not going to get into right now. But he mentions the line and says all of this is the beginning of the first tributary in the split of 2 times. For example, what were your ancestors doing when George Washington was killing British people? Ahmed: I don't know, nigga, herding goats. Rashid: exactly, like obviously. We can trace like kingdoms and shit, wars, anthropological melancholy. I mean, I'm Somali. I can tell you the history of the place from name to name. But fuck, my ancestors are probably herding shit too, or fishing, or better yet, finessing niggers in the marketplace. It's just that when you think about in Kenyatta's terms, like the what is of history, how it is made, drawn on a written. Like, to look at it another way, if history is a spirit and living and breathing like Hegel said it was, are all the niggas on the continent on change or under the wheels of the Atlantic just fucking herding goats, so to speak? Ahmed: confused silence. Rashid: Kenyatta doesn't agree in either. Basically said destiny or spirit or fate has to be unified, it doesn't exist at all. And by this, a metaphysical hole was ripped in the universe. Like a historical grievance made flesh but invisible. Ahmed: I don't understand a word you're saying, my nigger. Rashid: okay, so like imagine that history happened exactly as it's supposed to happen, but in 2 different timelines. One black, one white. Ahmed: like the internet? Rashid, yes and no. Like if Joe Budden's podcast was Patton's vain imitation of Caesar on the dismantled casket of Pompeii. Ahmed, I'm confused about the Joe Budden-Patton comparison. Rashid, really? Ahmed, what? Yes, nigga, like the only thing they do is just yell at people. Rashid, I mean, the destructive narcissism and severe sociopathy, the series of increasingly bad decisions based on the aforementioned reasons that curiously result in him being rewarded by an out-of-touch cadre of fans who believe rap is akin to war, or in Patton's case, that war is the brother to rap. The misogynal, the exploitation of Dominicans. Ahmed, contemplative silence. Brah, there is the latently wild, Rashid, brah, there is the latently wild homophobic eroticism that is the undercurrent that guides his every stylistic choice. Like we aren't even gone to the disloyalty his comrades he so desperately relies on. I mean, what is Maul, but not as Omar Bradley? Ahmed, wait, like Joe Budden is Patton? Rashid, no nigga. Joe Budden is Joe Budden, and Patton's crazy ass is Patton. But the spirit of Joe Budden is Black Patton, who exists in the metaphysical abyss created by a rip in time. So basically, because black people are like the side notes in the great tidal wave or spirit of a European conception of history, by a very exclusion, we rip time, and somewhere between time and time, there's like color time, no pun intended, wherein there exists a black version of Patton who's exactly like Joe Budden. Wait, so who's Rommel? Or actually, who's Montgomery? What, nigga? You serious? It's so obvious. Taxstone, free my nigga, is Rommel. But like not a Nazi. And DJ Academics is Montgomery. But to think about it, that nigga would definitely work with the Nazis. Ahmed, doesn't that like present a fatal flaw? Rashid, nah nigga. Poetry and math is like black people. Nothing's really a one-to-one ratio. More like watching a universe eat another universe from the grandstandless spaceship, rhythmic explosions, and star-shaped teeth. We free. 3. Aisha, a monologue, August 2014. Case study 15. My name is Aisha Curry. But I'm not the Aisha Curry that anybody that doesn't know me, Aisha Curry, would think about. In fact, other than us both being black women with the same name, we have little to nothing in common, I guess. We obviously have never met, and the chances are very remote. I don't find Steph Curry a particularly cute or interesting guy. I don't like basketball, and if I had to choose, I'd choose LeBron, because there's something of an underdog there, even though that's not what he is at all. Ohio's just sad. When the other Aisha Curry became famous, people began to comment on us having the same name, which is annoying as fuck, by the way. But I started to have this fantasy, or more like a vision, of all of us who were named or had ever been named Aisha Curry in an endless room, living and dead. And sometimes I would like almost cry just to think of this weird line that draws us all together, generation to generation. I mean, my name's fucking Aisha Curry. There would be thousands of black women of so many different lives drawn by the sacred bond, whether we hated the name, loved it, or simply tolerated it, whether it was like a different body and the name was more of a prison. We were in two sacred worlds, embroidered by this name. Imagine all of the Aisha Currys, not only now, but into the future, side by side like a family portrait. Thank you.
Thanks, Mel. That was amazing. Next, I'm pleased to turn it over to Kaur Alia Ahmed to introduce Nora Treatbaby.
Nora, I cannot recall the experience of our knowing each other prior to it taking over me. We started by driving to Home Depot to buy a couple plants and steal a couple plants. In a big green van, we drove past Beauty towards each other. The road was braided with the river in our disclosure, moving through animated strands of relation. What spilled water all over the schedule? We started with a pattern of language that told each other we could start again, kinda whenever. Nora, I've been thinking about the ways a new day resembles the past. There is so much truth and so much pain. It is obvious because we are. We have been led to panoramas through sliding doors. We have forgotten to pick up prescriptions because we were taking the bridge slow, vibing. Between protests, we wound each other across our joined journeys, always left teetering between being scattered again, gathering, reorienting. The sky is punctured and the shore remains resuming. You say we maybe need to accept that. The future is known. Nora, you remind us that like us, rocks have wounds. They weather and become what gives us windows, casting light from a mountain in the sky into the entrance of CVS. They are picked up on the way to work by a glacier, constantly moving under its own weight. Rather than casting proclamations into a great distance, you tell us, vastness is so close. You and I have driven to space, which accelerates back outwards. I'd say your words resemble the future. We've been gifted a live prophet, a prophet who can chill. You tell us about regular situations that mean everything. Echo braiding the light of the earth. The weaving you do across your syntax is to show us that it is all already woven. To unravel one end would braid another. And what has an end but a body? To have a body and walk through our air, leave something behind you, something that makes future. There in the split of wind is beauty, is harm, beauty only in the whistle. You say to leave this body so it can change is no retreat but a turning. Here's my awe. I'll turn to introduce you, Nora. Your breath and its words here into our air.
Thank you. That was extremely beautiful. I love you. Like a lot. What if I didn't know him? That was weird. No, I do, and that meant a lot. This is my book. It's brand new this week. It's called Our Air. It's lit, yeah. So I'm gonna read from that, Okay. Nature is a pill. I was made to swallow it. Have I nothing to do with what's inside of me? Flesh is a full-on commitment, its invitation a closed circle. If meaning is possible, it will occur on the surface. Where is touching? I made earth swallow it. Some woman weeps civically in accordance with her recycling. There is nowhere for any of it to go. What boundaries am I? A country doth sway in the long composition of the map, one fractal preceding the deep fake of design. I say call off the search and live in the splendor of the gerund. Self-dual, we are to be one figment repeating, yet at some depth it wavers, laughs. Days filtered through the screen we use to resist them. What kind of loneliness compels us towards more of it? Leave me be to unsing the borders of this dream so I may wander away from this landscape, which I share with 5G and the Arby's Stetson hat. Thence a purr of ancient truth. This cannot be permanent. A soft wave of silence's shape and dissension towards the image of the image of. What is what is? A framework, a curiosity system, a perfect replica of my butthole. as if we are not free to pursue thicker things, a life and its span, and measure what is the duty of a leaf. Cuneiform of the torso. When I think of my boobs, I become horny and sad. A creative space. Inscribed nothing, and yet exists my chest. It is a creek bottom, home to a flow of meanings, similar to the way light is migratory, arriving at the moment of appearance. They say somewhere in the city I am hidden, and my task is to find me. All signs point to other signs. Being a woman is an implausible dream. It is not something you become, are assigned. It is just an insane vibration. Is adequate life coming? Perfect carbless existence in this museum of breathing. Just a tiny piece of substance, like belief. In exchange of signals, one thought follows the sound. Cannot discern the math of language underneath intent. The pronoun is a sculptural demon, freshly visualized human sexual value in each change. In order that we may know sex, sifting it, closing our eyes to the sound that is thrashing around the nipple. Observe how logic loves you. Good old-fashioned neutral observation, rendering co-eval with rendering, placed in order to save life for a later date. Skin is not really a hug. What really ends? You? The world demands you to imagine it. The situation goes on and on. It is impossible to survive duration, and yet acceptance floats into range. There not be a logo for life, so what of the stuff, everything yet seen, at one time bought, and purpose, the ancient umbel never faded into some billboard's shade. We were true then and now. In fact, it is all yonder. I say leave the space in space. You cannot rake forest floor. I will advocate for progress when I am shown the substance it's composed of. I know a straight line can only ever be empty, from here to there being everywhere. Wind deepens the hearing world, some rustling to remind life of life. I cannot be achieved, I'm not a goal. I say give yourself when you have yourself, such as friendship, revolution, etc. Love is the porch upon which I sit and ponder the tree, its anti-noise which does not occur. Beauty is supposedly as a drop of dew, a collection of repeated elements dissipating into the dome. Whence does the rivulet enjoy the source of the arching cypress? Who knew 'twould fuck so? Lush columns of hellfire and the thinking that governs us in bare light, in wooded day-long glint, upwardly mobile in the persistent movement of structure. Each moment there is no return, so we might need to just accept that. It is known, the future. Earth is dropping hints like, I'm real, and love me. The mystery of freedom, who decided there was anything but, lofted into the flash, we are here to do what with time broken and all, unpacked novel modes of existence whilst waged, skein of my life, a real thing to waste, dropped from the near heights of the conceivable. Things are dangled into the weather, its limits. The world tries to end but cannot. Why? I need clues, not answers, something inside, a big emptiness like CVS or Sky. It is extremism to have an economy, society loaded like some spring launching into the end of itself. Our aim is not to disperse things from their categories, but to dissolve the tenses from which arrangement is possible. A blossom bloomed, the genius of relation is tendril between ache, feeling like a desert in one's own clothes. In spite of cliches of the multiple, one must ask, who is not coming through us? There is dignity in flickering like the passerine song between pines, and being outside of reality's likelihood. Lost as I am in the specificity of air, I take breath and it is a fluency. I abandon my felicity with language for the dumbest shit truth, and emit only the clean sound of sentiment. Light is a river, I am a flume, I am a line that receives heaven. All weather is near to me always. Seed. So long as the ground survives these deaf spots between us, still turned by vibe and by mouth, do rocks cry? At which depth is further surface, a blossomity towards more light? Pain is stupid, dude. Facts still. To this day. I need that the feeling of one's own eyes not be beyond bearable, and a sprig may hope. I fled the face of myself, surrendered my parents to a hidden, surrendered my present to a hidden half-world. Actually, my mom's on the live stream, so I love her, actually. I got one really good one. I wanted smooth pain that could not be, and to let life linger on me like a foam. Seed, we cannot tame time, return, or take back what is acted. In what order do we collapse, ourselves or another? All harm is braided. I eager to clean the pantry of my distortions, bathe in real skin with real people, see my actions unclothed with a madness that is empathy for myself. And it was in turning towards me what parts of ourselves we dreamt severed. I am the sister of my past selves, turning towards you. Seed. And what is true is me turning towards an assemblage of all manner of people that I have known, turning towards me, associating with the seed. One day we will be hurt in specific ways like rent. I am glad my money's fake. My world began in the trees, behind what was being written on me. And there was us turning without no towardsness, as if a seed were not in association by the action of. Then, in so turning, I blurt floras. There could be water and light endless and seething one upon the other in unbroken complexity. Why is earth perfect? I wonder to what degree has infinity been verbalized. Even my pussy has a name, turning in a room with all of you, to slow presentation down to a crack or pure mirror, at home in vastness with the lower leaves, absorbing the excess of our aspiration. Earth is not a planet. It is good to live in a world with sky. My sun is yours. The common circle brought us to the quasi-slaw of store credit and sapling syntax. Perhaps there is life's omnivorous wet, which binds open the seed, turning to the hilt of some goose's horn. All distance is a song through which no truth could turn. I have the witness of soft titties. But can a person who gets food all over themselves when they eat really change? At some middle point, having had nothing but twinges of some allogenous fume, I collapsed from a fathom of my own abundance in panties. My balls are falling out. I am of so many airports. Can I just enjoy the sound of the dream ending? Let this be my expanding mantra. Memory made me weird. There has been beauty, and now there is you to receive it quietly in the edge of still sweetness, roaming the echo of matter. Spent the morning horny. Just a task these days. That sports is in the air is obvious to anyone struggling to come. I still suppose that a tree can be born as though not parcel to some larger motion of forgetting and being by memory and by mouth. Rather, that the turning of circles was why a seed billowing, the right grammar for acoustic fury, to lay down in the grass was. Reality is collaborative but not consensual. Door of day opens with precise roominess, released from sequined sonar in shirk of regulation, the morning flows, impossible expansion of non-distance, by relation to herbaceous thicket in semi-splendor. There is no rectangular time, only groceries. Colloquial construction of day being off or on, not dichotomized by the abundance of swimmers or matter charging in unclenched silkness, but rather by wage moving through our air frothing with subjugation and balm. At least the sky will finger me, all breasts being equal on the backside of planet lesbian. I whisper into mere dimension, don't leave, and dreamt of walls, a thought unto my own concavity, a small world unto a small world, listening for the evidence involved with the pleasures of a vacuum restored from the genre of specifics. I vagina like nobody's watching. Concerning the trees we have mentioned from the beginning, turning, there is a turning to the top secret entrance of the word which pressed against the juniper I originate as a featureless mold that is engorged by time here, the sole loci that time could enact its stream, and so therefore turn the circles toward exactness and flush certainty through the self. Arrival is to have possessed never at one time a single alias. I am wardrobe malfunctioning upon infinity's mattress, twirling the germain of humanness with flotsam of a deeply personal history. The strands of me cluster around the natural knot. Flowers grow warm in the clay remembrance of defunct sexualities. I would never use the word body in a poem, but then I saw AMAB carved into the bark and was rerouted to my sexual god form. To be sirening a pedal cage hovering behind my technology, I am a fully realized mass of oxymoron being so true to annulment, having sunk so deeply into beauty. I was really fluctuating back there. It's time to explode. I call for the absolute redemption of Nora by breaking through to the greater flesh of nothing. I retreat from the graph's silent face. These branches are but furrows of deeper life, archways between a reflection, scattered so that one's proper name grows dull or real. Even now there is cosmos and email ink. I left my only body so that it would change. I felt the dent of tenderness awaken in me that the sky is blue, and I needn't complicate this feeling because it was never just a single inquiry, wave after wave of sexual revolution, only possible in a world blown open by waiting room magazine piles and the trauma of parking. There is a particular echo to the call of who am I when yelled at the exact moment your city first gets an Apple store. I grew up desperate to be born. You can imagine you were there, awaiting your turn to ripen in the freezer aisle, near mom, soul dilating in the resplendent stucco of Kroger. People look amazing in clothes in photographs, and that doesn't upset me anymore. It is but a lifetime with leaves spinning with pleasurable clemency upon grooves in the declining tautness of my face. As I age, the mirror grows wiser. I am turning towards myself to write an apology letter to Lisa Robertson for having pepperoni nipples, and I just say, welcome to love, my angels. Where does the prism go? To substantiate the concept of vibrancy, to intern at the flower, to make the stone sexy. It singles us out against so many realtors burning through the commerce of surface. My fingerprint is a cul-de-sac where dads spew vibes vis-a-vis hose length and Chevy supremacy. Light delves this world, the perfect for mid-flight tears. This could be paradise tomorrow. Same sun turning us in heaven as turns this violent driveway. So don't turn my touch as a species of relation, but as a juniper, swerving recklessly through definition. In other words, air, all air, is fresh, you idiots, and we are not stranded in proximity to the swaying twig, alerting form to the seasons. It is our same skin, whispering how to flow outwards again after subscribing to Hulu. I could not escape that which was hewn into the world during the centuries I occur. By blaze or by proxy, we are here. It can and will go on, the body of my body, this old tube. A feeling of great rapport with my AirPods, as it is only humane to have distraction. After everything, the disheveled past brings us toward a blinking hope of each other. And this is where I cease turning, but at life finds a way out of the lobby and into a quiet existence of ethical non-monogamy. Gay equals good? Question mark. I admit there is nothing beyond blue whispers in the canyon that just sits, and a caged fraught. In the manic background of glass flags, we adjourn sovereignty as it remains to be seen the means to abolish North America. Still, a fantasy shakes leafily, no matter the forestallment of turning, to conjoin our thoughts and your life. It pleases the freak inside the resume to unbolt from a linear history of the person. I can no longer corroborate that we are touching except to peel forth the borders of our condition insofar as the tree was here. I remember her, heaving towards the sky, and it was relaxing to imagine ourselves operating the logic of juniper branches as though we could recollect some sky, some flirty twilight that makes it touch. Where does the fucking time go? I need answers. Whose pocket and which acre? I was further radicalized by how expensive it is to sleep. Turning a field of the feeling of feeling all right, I am lost. Existence is different, distant. How normal to have found myself shattered during Beltway transhumance. I am a lady, but you can call me dude. I cannot recall the experience of womanhood prior to it overtaking me. Perhaps there is a missing memory, some spring in dappled forest sending forth pink spumes through vaginal rock walls, molten chromosomes hardening into the bright stone of a labial pool. Perhaps I drank this delicious froth, sundering me from a destiny of exactly what I cannot say. So is life as a lady doomed to be despite serious objections to the paradigm. She works the morning light between uncertain gaps in the self, having proceeded in the task of establishing a set of axioms to throw directly into the trash. I am a riverbank. As such, I wash away. I will live free. I will be perceived. I am a softening spray of love. Just like love, I suck. I will hem the elusive strokes of our image into some reverie that solves us. I will get distracted. In the pure engine of your 20s, one has stopped short of exactness. Is being trans important? I lose my surroundings, what is near so vast, and I so small. The supernumerary of cranes dot our clouds, our sky, our heaven, and we are left bloodthirsty for a view of the end. A body is just replacement space for the limitless truth of each other, but also where centuries actually occur. History has a form. In bruise, it is not just eye contact. Did I not say hope back there in the trees, awash in some sudden humor of our situation, which is changing like a stone? Did I not say, let's pretend we possess time of a different aura, so to suck the chlorophyll of the juniper, to spin ourselves a flotational shape, to escape our heaving in this warm ecstasy of being, a creature that moves just like a stone, turning to the grammar that speaks open the decline of touch. Suck the perfect apprehension from the landscape. Vibe check on surface, ample family dollars on mute highways, receding into prefigurative vegetation, and power lines interlocked with incalculability. The old neighborhood is afflicted with latte madness. Miniature urban suburb, nominal Tyvek tsunami to thwart Google Maps refugees. Discharge millennia of psychosexual planning through question of what to wear at work. We are penalized for both sides of perception. If I am to be alleged as having some hot blood, I will have it be known I spew face down the same laughter as the bushes behind the Wawa. Okay, love, what do you want from us? Large and light and completely receptive to the myth of underlying myth, and what do we get? A lifetime supply of perfection, turning towards a deep romance of possibility, having only ever been given no choice. There are worlds. Thank you.
Thank you, Nora. Let's get another round of applause for both our readers, Nora Treatbaby and Mohammed Zenia. Yeah, and that is the program for the evening. Thank you all so much for coming. Historically, this is when I tell you when our upcoming events are, but we're having this kind of phenomenal problem where we're regularly selling out the Parish Hall, which includes 2 events next week, and also I still feel morally obligated to tell you about them. On Monday, we have Cookie Mueller at 75 with Gary Indiana, Ames Poe, Jackie S., Chichi Valenti, Lizzie Bugazzos, Chris Leaguia Gonzalez, and Nicole's Revenge. We will have like a waitlist queue situation at the door if you didn't buy tickets already for that one, though I recommend just having a gorgeous little watch party via the live stream with some friends at home. It'll be quite full. On Thursday, we have The Potency of Images, a conversation and study session on Gaza and the politics of visuality. That one is just completely closed, so I should have just skipped that one, sorry. And Friday, this one, no admission complications on this one. Come one, come all, Stefan Marine, Alan Khan, and Oh Young. Thank you. Goodbye. Have a good night.